All right, so everyone in chat, you arrive at a restaurant and the food's not ready, and they give you a number. What is the magic number before you say, "Hey, another Uber driver will be here shortly. I got to run." Everyone's probably gonna have a different number, but what number is too high? I gave mine at the beginning of the Q&A. I'll give it again, but just getting some activity going. What is y'all's number? Where is it? 5 minutes? Is it 7 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? I mean, what's the number we say, hey, I gotta go? I've been waiting too long this week. I'm done with that. Isaiah, what's your number? What's too long? Ricky, 5 minutes. The truth be told, we shouldn't be waiting at all, but it does happen. Phil, 7 minutes. Isaiah, 5 minutes. Okay. Me personally, I judge it based on the restaurant. Now, for those of y'all that have looked at the Uber Eats only course, in part 4, I remember in part 4, I talk about, kind of valuing a restaurant based on a few factors. And one of the factors is the wait time. When it comes to that wait time, you got to really know what restaurant you're picking up from. Some restaurants, they'll just own it. And if it's one of those restaurants that's normally own it, but they're struggling at the moment, if I look and they're getting their butts kicked, they're just slammed, and then they say 5 minutes, or maybe even 7 minutes, I might be willing to wait a little longer for the simple fact that it's one of those restaurants. Now, if it's a restaurant that they habitually have you waiting, I put them in what I call a Uber Eats timeout, meaning I won't accept any trips from them for a few weeks. Then after a few weeks, I'll give them a try again. Now, after I put them in a few timeouts, if they are still failing, if I walk in there and it's long enough for me to want to sit down, that's a problem. And for me, that's longer than 5 minutes. If that's happening, then I just put them on the do not do business list. Because sitting at these restaurants, you are wasting time and money. Because it's not like before where Uber Eats is going to give you $5 for waiting 15 minutes. They say they pay for wait time, but let's be honest. As far as I'm concerned, they don't, because it didn't result in us making more money for the most part. You can't start paying per minute and then slice the per mile rate in half and say, hey, we pay for wait time. In my book, that's not. It's the equivalent to what it was before, except for you're not getting paid for wait time. So if we're not getting paid for wait time, we really need to evaluate who we do business with and bounce if they're taking too long. 5, but I've been allowing 7. Isaiah, like I said, you got to put these restaurants in categories. We get paid wait time now, correct? So it doesn't matter how long we wait. Gabrielle. Well, here's the thing, Gabrielle. A lot of people, myself included, we, in a lot of markets, if you waited longer than 15 minutes, you would get $5 reimbursed for wait time. So you actually were kind of okay with sitting there like, well, I'm going to get that $5, so it's going to kind of make up for it. So picture this. You are waiting at a restaurant, and the trip itself gives you, let's say, $9. And you waited for 20 minutes. You hit Uber up, and they give you the $5. Well, now you're at $14. It takes the sting out of you actually waiting. But that scenario won't take place anymore. So you'll be stuck with that $9. And you can see how that can put it in your earnings. They, on paper, like when you look at your pay statement or a screenshot of a trip or whatever, yeah, it says estimated wait time. You're getting paid for wait time. But the thing is, when they made that change, they're not going to pay you $5 for waiting 15 minutes. And they're saying, well, we pay you a certain cent per minute now, but they decrease the mileage rate that if you drive 3 miles, you're now making less money on that per mile rate. So in my book, that's the equivalent of not doing anything. See, Ricky, no point in waiting over 10 minutes anymore. 20 cents per minute, not worth it. I agree, Ricky. And that cent is actually very dependent on your market. So some people may actually be getting less. In my book, they're not paying for wait time. since we're not technically making more money. And to me, it just seemed like an excuse to get rid of that 5 minute per 15-minute thing. I mean, that whatever. I always kind of suspected it was going to be temporary, but with these apps, you just got to adapt to what they do. And that's my adaptation. Now, I still got a list of restaurants that I don't go to, even if it was so slow, I haven't gotten a ping in 40 minutes, which has actually never happened before. But if it was that slow, I still wouldn't go to some restaurants. Got one restaurant here that is slow in the afternoon, but quick at night. I've been canceling at lunch, but going there for dinner. Phil, you bring up a great point. The time of day with a lot of these restaurants is very key. There's a restaurant in Dallas that in the last half of dinner rush, let's say beyond 7:30, they're cool. You go in there, you pick the food up, and maybe you may have to wait maybe a minute or two. But between 5 and 7:30, they get their butts kicked, and you can wait there 10 or 15 minutes. So I learned that, you know what, just don't take any orders during that time frame. So the time of day is very critical. Different restaurants perform at different levels depending on the day, what time of day it is. You got some restaurants that are just slackers all around. But what Phil said is actually a very great point. I appreciate it. Phil, 9 cents a minute here after Uber's cut. Yeah. Like, the wait time is so minute, I don't even really include it as far as part of my strategy. Now, I will say this, and this goes into the waiting. How many people get double orders all the time? What I mean by that is you've already accepted the order, then you get another delivery that comes in, you take it. So now you have 2 orders. I'm pretty sure a lot of people do that, right? Just got to learn which restaurants are quick and which ones are slacking. Most restaurants are cooking food from scratch, so wait times will be longer. Yeah, that's definitely true. And if certain restaurants are fast food, but they're not living up to their name, then maybe it's time to bounce. But Isaiah, yep, doubles. This plays a role in wait time. Because a lot of times they may have your first order ready, but your second order is like, hey, the second order is not ready. Now, what do you do in that situation? Now, a lot of people think they're obligated to take both orders. You're not. At any point, you can cancel the second order. I do it a lot. In fact, I have some restaurants where I know it's heavy on them during certain times, so I won't take double orders from that restaurant because I know I'm just going to end up canceling. But yeah, at any point, you can cancel the second order if you feel the wait is going to be way too long. Or if it's during a certain time of day, I won't take any doubles from that restaurant. Because this is something that I when I see it, I just don't understand it. But you have drivers, like I'll walk in and they have an order, but they're waiting for the second order. I'm kind of like, so how long you been waiting, bro? I've been waiting like 10 minutes. You don't want to do that. I would say after a few minutes, after 5 minutes at the most, take your first order, go ahead and deliver it and move on. Because just sitting there waiting for that second order, you already have like money right there. And the second order is like a small bonus, I see. But if it's going to take too long, then that small little bonus will end up losing you money. Because it's going to take a certain amount of time to deliver both orders, right? You're waiting there 10 minutes. You had to drive over there. Let's say that took another 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. So you're already at 25 minutes and you haven't even left the restaurant yet. So when you finally do leave the restaurant, let's say the delivering the order takes another 15 or 20 minutes. So now you have 40 or 45 minutes. You've made, I guess, depending on how much the delivery paid, between $4 and $9 in the boost and all that. Now you have 15 minutes to get another order to stay within that $11 to $18 range and complete the order. What's the likelihood of that happening? Unless it's going around the corner. You see how it's not adding up in the long run? A lot of times these doubles are way overrated. So you got to kind of analyze the situation beforehand.